Thank you very much again. Two things just to point out that are really quite important before I start the presentation. The first one is really that I'm a waffler, so I'm going to stick to my script because I think we all want a cup of coffee at the end of this. And the second one, excuse me, the second one is that I hate being last on the agenda after a range of such fantastic speakers that we've had this morning, which kind of probably explains this next slide. That's not about you guys, by the way, so don't take it personally. These were the words spoken to us as a small social enterprise with little money when we agreed to accept responsibility for a community asset back in July last year. The asset was a community centre adjacent to two of the most deprived wards in Crewe. It had recently been closed to the public and had a number of problems. So, for example, it had no cash to speak of. In fact, it had a history of debt. It had a diminishing reputation with the local community. I was very much known as quite an exclusive facility. It had no volunteers, it had no customers, it didn't even have any gas on site, so it wasn't the most exciting prospect. What it did have, however, is a small group from within the local community that wanted to see that centre reopened, but were unable to do so alone. I lead a small social business called Big Society Works Limited, and in principle we established the business to enable people to do more for themselves within their local community. As an enabling company, we agreed to take on the asset, which is the George's Community Centre in Crewe, for a period of 12 months to do two things. First of all, it was to sweat the asset, using it to deliver local services and generate enough income to survive financially without a grant, which is obviously a big challenge. The second one was to build capacity within the team and management structure to enable them to carry on running the asset independently once we depart after that 12 months. In short, we wanted to create a sustainable community facility and hand it back to the community to run. It's been a learning journey for all, and believe me, at least once a week, this is the statement I make to myself in the mirror. I thought it might be interesting in terms of structuring my presentation to share with you a few more of the statements that have been made while we've been trying to affect change within the community along our journey since we started. Those that I can publish anyway, certainly within a church premises. You don't understand how things are around here. Every community is different. There's no single solution that will solve problems in a one-size-fits-all way. But there are principles that can be applied across the board to help facilities and assets become community-led and community-loved facilities. They were right though, we couldn't possibly understand how things were within the neighbourhood without talking and listening, which has been a common theme throughout this morning, I think, to local people. So we set up an advisory board to help us to understand and respond to local demands. One of the biggest challenges we faced though was not actually about the fabric of the building or even the challenge around finances to sustain it. It was actually about the attitudes of local people previously involved with the centre. Well intended, we were informed very early on that we don't do young people, we don't do health and safety, and we actually don't want to change. So, as Henry Ford said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And it was clear from the start for us that no change was not an option if we were going to turn the situation around. Interestingly though, some of the resentment that had in the past translated into vandalism by young people locally was actually born out of a feeling of being rejected and excluded from the centre. And within just a few weeks of us coming in and engaging young people again, inviting them back into the centre, the same guys who kicked the football outside were actually waiting on the lunches for older people through the summer holidays. So that was really good to see that given an opportunity to come on in, they did, and they engaged with the wider community. Listening to the community is key for anyone operating a community asset. And many of us often don't look outside our own committee structures to remind ourselves that actually we might not know, even though we live there, what people out there want. So that regular communication and engagement with our customers or potential customers is really important and can make such a difference in terms of the range of people that come into the centre and use the facility. We can't survive without grants. This is one of the most commonly used statements that we've heard working with a lot of community and voluntary sector organisations over the last 18 months. Obviously, charities and voluntary sector are struggling to deal with financial pressures, in particular the reduction in the availability of grant due to constraints on the public purse as well. But we simply don't accept that statement. The voluntary sector deliver some of the largest impacts on people's lives, yet often struggle to present their value in real terms. It's always really intrigued me to hear often patronising references made to the poor old voluntary sector in terms of their ability to generate income or move into the delivery of public services. We often find it hard to conceive that a voluntary organisation could deliver high quality services. Yet the flip side of that is at times of personal crisis or national disasters, organisations like Samaritans and Red Cross are often the first that we turn to, which are voluntary sector. So I believe we can survive without grants. I believe we can learn to articulate our value and understand it in other people's terms so that we can start to earn, not ask for income. I'm really proud of the balance that we've achieved in the last 7-8 months at the centre between social and enterprising activity. Some of the things we deliver on the site are absolutely social at their heart. For example, a Tuesday luncheon club where we have a number of older people from within the community that will come and have a low-cost, high-quality, home-cooked meal. They will have a package of fruit to take home with them. We just about break even on that, and that's fine with us because we wouldn't want to compromise on quality for that vulnerable group. But equally, we deliver services on the site that are financially driven, like the catering contract that we've recently secured to a private sector organisation. We have a kitchen on site, so we sell hot breakfasts and sandwiches and that kind of thing from within the centre. We're really proud of our association with who has become our corporate patron, an organisation called Expert Logistics in Crewe. We have such a range of activities that have come from our initial conversation and our initial relationship with them. At the heart of that relationship is doing business together. So they don't give us money. We don't ask them for money. We actually set out a business proposition. We look at opportunities to work together. So they could buy their sandwiches from anywhere, but they're choosing to buy them from us. We're delivering the right quality because they expect standards and quality, but they're actually creating jobs within the local community and making sure that the profit that comes from that will be reinvested back into a community facility. So it's a win-win for everybody. Since our initial conversation, we've looked at other ways in which we can add value to each other. So some of the simple things that we're doing are, we are buying our uniform through their suppliers because they've got better buying power than us. We are a small organisation. They're a massive organisation, so they can get it cheaper. They can get much better terms in terms of payment for us as well. We've even recently, we have a card class that meets at the centre, and we've had a conversation about us supplying cards for all the workforce on their birthday at Expert Logistics. So we've just signed up to that. So our card class will make the cards to order. They'll put something unique on there that's relevant to the workforce, the individual within the workforce, and send it out with the George's logo in partnership with Expert Logistics. So they could buy that anywhere, but they're adding value to the community locally by actually doing that from us, and we are doing business together. Before we start even considering delivering a new service, we ask ourselves what we're hoping to achieve by it. So we're able to balance the need to generate income with the need to deliver social objectives as well. We don't deliver free at all, we deliver value. So for instance, our Halloween party over the last few months was for the first time on that site, first time ever chargeable. We offered a free hot dog worth £1 and we charged £1 to our customers to get in, understanding that we could deliver the hot dog for 26p, so we had a good margin on that. And everyone was happy because everybody felt that actually I'm paying £1 and it cost £1 anyway, so I'm fine about that. We had huge concerns from our advisory group that local people wouldn't be prepared to pay, but do you know what, 120 of them did, and they came and they had a fab party and they had really, really good value. Social enterprise doesn't mean that we have to become entirely inspired from a profit perspective to become a business. But I absolutely support something that David had said earlier, that we do need to become more business-like if we're going to improve our operations. We'll find it much easier to secure investment outside of grants and to trade viably if we do. Without any public money, we've generated enough income from the centre to pay bills and the wages of 2 staff. We've created 2 jobs out of it, employed from within the local community, both of whom had actually volunteered at the centre before, so it is a route to employment as well. And they, of course, are working with a wide number of volunteers and are helping to direct them. We need more people. Again, one of the most commonly used statements I hear when talking to the voluntary sector. In reality, the case is often that we need to better use what we've already got, so organise the volunteers to become more productive. Bringing more in is simply not the answer, yet it's one of the big two on any list when I speak to anyone in the voluntary sector. We need more money and we need more volunteers. We're open as a centre 7 days a week and have a core volunteer team of just 5 people. We've got about 40, we've got more than 40 on our register actually, thanks to some of the help from CVS as well, which we can call on to engage in specific jobs, some of those off-site, to help to support events and that kind of thing as well. But we found that structuring our team and working with them to create work plans and schedules has increased both their productivity and their satisfaction, so their experience as well. They feel like they've done something when they come into the centre, not just hung about waiting around for something to do. We've already heard, and will undoubtedly hear more, about the potential to look outside of the traditional arena as well to get some help. We've got a wide range of volunteers from within local business who have done things like United Carpets, have fully fitted carpets in the facility for free. Actually for free, we've been pushing out their brand within the local community, so they've got that marketplace positioning as a community provider. So we are offering something in exchange for that support that we get from them. We've got an IT company who's installed all of our IT kit, got us online so we can offer free Wi-Fi from in the facility. So guess who we buy our supplies from? The guy across the road who does all the freebies for us. So we create a position of mutual gain, a win-win for everybody. And we've got some students from South Cheshire College working with us, supporting our website and social media to gain valuable experience for them. And we've got a young person doing a formal placement from a training provider carrying out an administration task. There is no way we would have that young person on site if we were not organised in a way that gave the training organisation the confidence to place them with us. They need to know that they're going to be productive, they're going to be taken care of and looked after and managed and supported. In the next few months, we'll be discussing further partnership arrangements with De Vere Academy, which is exciting, to provide placements for newly qualified chefs and kitchen assistants. They get the experience and we get the help, so win-win. This is the quote that I actually have been waiting for some time, and it was one that was actually came out of a member of our team at the centre just earlier this week, so it was great to hear. We've made huge progress in bringing people together and embedding new ways of working and thinking, and that's so important. The cultural change is the much bigger challenge than the cash coming in and keeping everything going from a service point of view. So we now understand our cost base, our customers, who does what in terms of volunteering, everybody's really clear in terms of that structure, and we're making money by delivering a whole range of services, including the community cafe that delivers hot breakfast. We do family bingo, we've got judo, we've got street dance. So probably on the surface we don't look much different to other community assets, but behind the scenes we are very much a sustainable community enterprise that is self-sufficient, generating its own money, making its own decisions with the community. Finally, and perhaps more importantly, this isn't all about the cash. This, for us, it was all about what we could achieve through the centre rather than in the centre itself, or creating just the facility, just the structure there. This is one of the many profound statements that have been made by one of our customers, in fact, who has since become one of our volunteers. For us, it's not just about keeping the centre open, it's about changing lives through the centre by creating a place to meet, eat, learn, connect with each other and play as well. Our centre has provided, in a very short period of time, employment for a young person who was actually previously homeless in terms of getting that job. An opportunity to reconnect with society for a former teacher who suffered a nervous breakdown and previously spent her time wandering the streets. It's taken her many months to come into the centre, and now she's an active volunteer, very privately, and she does things in her own way at her own time, but she's part of our volunteer team. It was a huge challenge to even bring her into the centre. Social interaction and friendship for a local widower, a lovely guy who lost his wife a year ago, and the centre's become part of his life. He's a really active part of the team. You will see this on a daily basis yourselves. And an opportunity to learn new skills for all of the volunteers, for people from some of our migrant community, and also for the young lady who's actually on a placement with us at the moment. We've recently established a foundation board made up of local people and businesses so that they take ownership for the facility and will be responsible for the strategic direction of the business going forward. The business, it is very much a business. Our customers are community, and it's got to be community focused, but it is a business. So I've shared a little of our journey this morning and hope it demonstrates, I guess, the art of the possible when you adopt a slightly different approach. We are working with Cheshire East Council over the next couple of months to roll out some of our learning in the form of a health check on other community assets, to just explore on behalf of other people the real potential for them to become self-generating in terms of self-sustainable, in terms of that income generation. So if anybody wants to have a chat over coffee, I'd be more than happy to let you know more information about that. I want to close by thanking CVS for their help and support at the centre. They've played a really valuable role in terms of some of the advice and guidance around volunteering and volunteering policies. But the one thing that's really struck me this morning is that in isolation, looking at private sector, voluntary sector, public sector as well, we achieve very little. It's only when we bring together that range of experience, skills, expertise, and all of those networks and the insights as well, that it's possible to create something pretty fantastic. So thank you very much to all of our partners who have been supportive of us, including Cheshire East Council, CVS, private sector. Lee's been in and had a chat with us to connect us up with businesses as well. Thank you very much for listening.